Jai Shri Ram. Let's check our power drive, the need for power. There was a Harvard professor, Professor David McClelland, whose theory about the three basic needs: need for achievement, need for power, and need for affiliation. It's a very interesting theory which changed my life. How it changed my life, I'll tell you in just a minute. See, Professor David McClelland of Harvard University, in his work, he studied power motive, achievement motive, and affiliation motive in thousands of subjects. He came to the conclusion that these three are the fundamental motives, and high achievers have a very high achievement need for achievement, and their need for power and their need for affiliation are satisfied once they achieve those great heights which they aspire to. Ordinary people, mediocre achievers in life, are those who have a very high need for power and a very high need for affiliation, but because their need for achievement is very low, their personalities are different, and well, they don't achieve much in their lives. See, the average human being has a very high need for power. Now, high need for power basically means, you want people to respect you, you want to control people, you want people to listen to your instructions, and sometimes you will do this in the right way, but most often there is something called a lust for power, and people become psychoneurotic, and they try to gain advantage, they try to manipulate people, manipulate others, and in the process they become psychopaths. A psychopath is defined as a very intelligent, cunning, manipulative person who has no conscience and who will exploit others. So this is called psychopathy. So psychoneurotic, and seeking to gain an advantage at the expense of others. So this lust for power can become a serious stumbling block in any person's growth, and he becomes a social misfit. See, that's the problem with many people. It's natural. Actually, this theory is so wonderful because what it says is that all of us have these three needs. It's natural to have a need for power, which I just explained, need for affiliation, which means the need to be associated, a sense of belonging to a group, being respected, being liked, and that's why we are members in many WhatsApp groups, Instagram, and all these things are need for affiliation. We like to affiliate, go to parties, receive gifts and give gifts and weddings and blah blah blah. But the major problem with many people in society, 80% of the people have an abnormal need for affiliation, and they have very low need for achievement. Low need for achievement. That's why they are losers. They don't achieve much in life. Let's take Virat Kohli. His need for achievement is so high that throughout his initial years of his life, he worked so hard, and today he's a champion batsman. I cannot forget those two sixers he hit against Rauf in the World Cup cricket match, India versus Pakistan. Of course, we eventually went on to lose the final, but Virat Kohli seized victory from the jaws of defeat by hitting those two awesome sixers against Rauf, who was bowling at 155 plus. So those sixes are simply massive, awesome, humongous, inexplicable. He was in a flow state. Right? Now, how is that possible? Because Virat Kohli is a thorough champion. He is a clutch specialist. That means in tough situations, this man will deliver. How? Because more than 10,000 hours of practice, total madness, complete dedication to batting. 24 hours he thinks and breathes and eats and drinks batting. That is why he is the best. Same thing with Tendulkar. And so once he achieved those great heights and became known, there are so many batsmen we see in IPL, but Virat Kohli stands out. Of course, sometimes you find that somebody seems to be better than Kohli, but where is the consistency? And sometimes Kohli can smash everyone out. Oh my God, why is Kohli Kohli? How can we Kohliize our lives? Well, total passion, total commitment, total dedication to the task on hand. It's a kind of madness, a hunger, a drive. How driven are you? Now, once this man has achieved all those great heights, and he will continue to achieve, now his need for power is satisfied. People listen to him. People will listen to him, and his need for affiliation is also satisfied because everyone wants to click photographs with him, They want to be his friends. So this is what the whole theory is all about. Now we have to ask ourselves, if you have an abnormal need for power or affiliation and your need for achievement is low, that's a warning, my dear friend. You will not achieve much in life. In fact, you will become a rascal, a nuisance, a psychoneurotic, or a psychopathic person. This is a small test. Okay. Unfortunately, in many groups I have seen, I'm 62 years old. I have seen enough life. My students are spread all over the world in lakhs. Okay, many of my hotel management students and GRE students. So I'm very happy and grateful to all of them, because they all thank me for my teachings and all the general stuff that I taught in addition to this subject that I was supposed to teach. So, my dear friends, need for achievement is important. Please work on your need for achievement. Now let us see. Now let us see. In this power questionnaire, let us see. I strive to show competence in any group I join. What do you say? False, somewhat true, very true? My answer is very true. In any group, I strive to show competence. Well, sometimes we are in the wrong groups, low IQ groups, and suppose you are a high IQ person. Now, intelligence basically is definable as a high level of skill in something. Suppose you are a very, very good, let us say, reader. You have the habit of reading a lot of books, and if you are in a group of people who don't read, now you will be bored. You are actually a square peg in a round hole. You will be a misfit, and perhaps they will insult you and humiliate you, because they cannot understand your worth and value. You are in the wrong group, and in that group, if you show any competence, you will be abhorred, you will be hated, you will be kicked out. It has happened to me several times, right? So a prophet is never recognized in his own land. Peraticchettu Vaidyaniki Panigiradu. So, of course, as a rule, I strive to show competence in any group I join, because I know what groups to join also. Anyway, my answer is very true. Let us see. I hope you will work along with me. I enjoy a job in which I can do things my way. Very true, obviously. I like to be the center of attention when with others. Unfortunately, somewhat true. But maybe others or my wife would say, no, 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 hey, in your case it is very true. Well, others may think differently. Well, I think it's somewhat true. Or verging on the third, if there is a fourth choice between B and C. Okay, yeah, because I get bored. Most of the people I come across are very shallow. Their learning, their knowledge quotient is so low that I get very bored, and I like to steer the conversation away into topics of my interest, and which are very general: philosophy, spirituality, religion, ethics, morality. These are and conversation, and shlokas and verses and Sanskrit and quotes and Albert Einstein and biographies. These are the things I love to talk about. I hate petty talk, which is what everyone indulges in. eh? Well, next, it irritates me when people try to dominate me. Very true. eh? This is the problem with people with low IQ, low need for achievement but high need for power. These are a real pain in the ass. I don't take embarrassments easily. Well, false. I do take them easily, because I have realized in life that there's no point. Because when there's no point trying to put lipstick on a pig. There's no point trying to beautify the pig. There's no point trying to teach a pig to sing or dance. It won't learn. So I have learnt that if the people around me don't value me, I leave that group immediately, right? And they might embarrass me, they might humiliate me, snub me. It's all right. So do I don't take embarrassments easily. Well, I think I'll go for false. Huh? But of course, sometimes in a situation where, suppose I forget a shloka or a verse, and I put myself to ridicule or embarrassment, I go back and do my homework so that I don't repeat it. It has happened in my life once. So next, I dislike taking advice from others. No, not at all. False. I actually provoke people, prod people. I like to go about listening to everybody. Sometimes my wife and my family don't like this attitude of mine. because they think that that's not the way to go. But on the other hand, I feel, వినదగును ఎవ్వరు చెప్పిన వినినంతనే వేగపడక వివరింపదగును గని కల్ల నిజము తెలిసినపో మనుజుడపో తెలిసిన మనుజుడపో నీతిపరుడు ఆర్ మనుజుడపో ధన్యుడు సుమతి. So listen to everyone, because you will then get information from different perspectives. It is very useful, very worthwhile. Ultimately we must take the decision, but listening to everyone, taking advice, there's no harm. Okay, so I won't go for very true. If you go for very true, then again that is neurotic, psychoneurotic. You are obsessed with power. It's important for me to do things better than others. Very true. Yeah, I would like to excel. There's a constant drive, and some people think that it's a need for power and I am trying to dominate them. Not at all. I am trying to be as good, and in fact I find that if somebody is better than me, I would always openly ask them. For example, in shuttle badminton, I have asked people, "Arey, that shot which you are playing, when you turn your back to the net and give a cross court drop, wow, that is awesome. Please teach me." And I ask, there are some players who are very good at a particular shot and who have mastered the shot so very well that I have asked them, and I keep asking them, "Hey, just tell me how to do this." I have no hesitation, because I think that everyone I come across in life has something to teach me. I think that's the right attitude. So it is important for me to do things better than others, yes, but that's a need for achievement, not for power. It's always been good at selling others on ideas or a point of view. I have always been good at selling others on ideas or point of view. Well, honestly, very true. But I also know that 80% of the people that I came across in life don't want to listen. Almost every other day I have a situation, there is a conflict, and people are behaving like idiots. They are shouting, they are not listening, because perhaps they are scared to listen, because if they listen, they know that they will have to change their mind, and they are not willing to do that. They will hang on to their stupid beliefs, they will worship their idiotic gods, psychopathic gods, and all their foolish customs, traditions, meaningless dogmatic rituals, and they are so opinionated idiots. So I just can't. I have reached a stage in my life where I cannot tolerate idiots anymore. There was a time when I was suffering fools gladly. I won't and I cannot suffer fools gladly. I think I cannot afford to waste any more time in my life. If I find that somebody is behaving like an idiot, I will either leave the group, and if possible he is in the wrong group and I am the leading the group, I'll kick that fellow out. Politely. Okay? Politely. Never insult anybody. Just get them to get out. I have always been good at, in fact I am very good at selling anything to anybody. I have that ability. I have worked on my vocabulary and rhetoric. If you are a young person listening to me, please work on that. If we all can be great leaders only when we understand the art of rhetoric, powerful and persuasive communication, the logos, pathos and ethos. Logos means reasoning. Pathos means the emotion you can generate in the listener. Ethos means your credibility. This is Aristotle's theory of rhetoric. Of course, the word logos in the English dictionary, logos means the word of God. Jesus Christ is known as the logos, the word of God in Christianity. Pathos is badha, sorrow. Ethos means culture or defining characteristic. So the English meanings are different, and the technical meanings given by Aristotle when he was writing his theory of rhetoric, that's also very interesting. Okay. Next, I like to ask tough questions that are hard to answer. Yes, in fact I will ask people cringe inducing questions. I will ask you questions which will embarrass you, because I think I am a congenital satirist. I was born to be a satirist, and I will ridicule you, which is well within my rights. Anything else I do, perhaps you can drag me to the courts. I have been threatened by people but they can't do anything more than that. Because it is my fundamental right to ask questions. Remember, in the fundamental duties which are 11 in the Indian Constitution, the 8th one is develop a scientific temper, spirit of inquiry, humanism and reform. Spirit of inquiry, the word inquiry, INQUIRY, means detailed investigation. Inquiry can also simply mean enquiry, that is asking for information. Humanism is a wonderful philosophy. Humanism basically means if there is a conflict between a holy book and what might be considered good for humanity, stick to the latter, reject the former. If a holy book says something which is unsound, immoral, and not conducive to human welfare, throw that holy book into the nearest dustbin. This is the philosophy of humanism and reform. We must constantly endeavor to reform our society. That's a fundamental duty. So, and I think reform starts with asking tough questions, make people think. And if they cannot answer, or if they start indulging in whataboutery, warn them initially, later kick them out. We don't need idiots in our group, we already have enough. Next question. At work, it would be hard for me to do a task that was meant for a subordinate. Not at all. Well, honestly, I would go for false in this. But I have reached a certain stage in my life. Earlier, I would have done any task meant for any subordinate also, and I have done. I have cleaned tables, cleaned bathrooms. I have worked as a daily wage worker for 8 rupees work, 8 rupees for 12 hours of work. I'm talking about 1980, from 80 to 83, when I was studying in Chennai, in Madras. Those days it was called Madras. I used to work in hotels, to lift tables, clean bathrooms, do all kind of assorted work. We were paid 8 rupees, sometimes 12 rupees, and we were being given a free meal. I was doing my hotel management. I have done daily wage work. I was a daily wager. I have worked in so many jobs. I have done everything, and so this is what is called lateral growth. Horizontal and lateral growth. You work, you do all kinds of jobs, and which is good, because that's what eventually leads to leadership. So you should be able to work at every level, master that work, and quickly move on to the next level. Now I don't do anything, because you know what, my thinking is like this. See, I'm a good GRE verbal teacher. I am also a very good Bhagavad Gita preacher. Now these are things which nobody can do, at least as far as I know people in my circle. So I delegate everything which someone else can do. So it's like this. An analogy can be, if you have an elephant, you should get the elephant to do an elephant's job, lifting huge heavy boulders or logs. But don't ask the elephant to do the job of a Pomeranian or a squirrel. So you should give the squirrel a different job, an elephant a different job. So therefore, do only those things which nobody can do, and delegate everything else to anyone who can do that, right? You must do. Virat Kohli, for example, only does batting. Virat Kohli doesn't do bowling or wicket keeping, or if his fielding is good, we are happy for that. But he should actually delegate everything else to everyone else, and focus all his intelligence, time, energy, everything, resources on batting, so that if possible he can be a even better batsman. So that is the need for achievement we must develop. Focus sharply on your skills. Specialize to such an extent that the world will lay out a red carpet for you. Do not be a person with a lot of useless general knowledge. The biggest idiots you will find in society are people who have lot of general knowledge. The most successful people specialize, and they will never do work which can be done by someone else. Well, I hope you learnt a lot from this small discussion, because life has taught me all these things. And for the last question, if you are still young, don't hesitate to do other people's jobs. In every job there is learning. When I was a chef, I was a tough chef, because cooks below me could never manipulate me, because they knew that I know their work. Sometimes there could be a chef who doesn't know, let us say, tandoor work. Now the guy on the tandoor, this rascal will manipulate you, because he knows that the chef doesn't know tandoori work. He doesn't know how to marinate tandoori chicken or make kebabs. So now that tandoori cook will make you dance to his tune. He will threaten you, he will ask for a raise, but if he knows that you know his work, he will just do his work quietly. He will listen to your orders, and he will also be scared that he can anytime replace you. and he will be scared that you can in fact train somebody else to replace him. Now that rascal will be under your control. Knowledge is power. I have learnt everything in my kitchen when I was working as a chef, so that when I become the chef, that is the boss, the leader of the kitchen, all my cooks, even if they are older than me in age, and even if they have greater experience than me, they know that I am as good as them, or at least I can replace them, so they are under my control. That is leadership. So once you reach a high position, do not do the work of others. Constantly work on honing your own skills. Sharpen the saw. Become the best. 10,000 hours of practice. Coalize yourself and reduce your obsession for power. Enhance your need for achievement. Jai Shri Ram.